All right, well, I believe, can somebody confirm that they can hear me and they see my screen full screen? Logan?
Yeah, it's happening in the chat. Everyone is confirming.
Okay.
25 new messages.
Okay, welcome to season 3, episode 2 of The Sharing Show. It says here 9 a.m. PST. It's supposed to be PDT, and it's supposed to say 9:05. And it is season 3, episode 2. And a show without Kane? How is this possible? Without Kane, we're probably going to end up starting a few minutes late. What would Kane say? So I'm going to try to channel Kane. What would he say today on March 17th? I'm not sure what Kane would do, really. Like, what would Kane do? I'm thinking he would celebrate the day in a special way. So maybe what Kane would do is talk about how lucky you all are. There's a little visual there for those who can see it. Maybe some of you will get lucky on a possible Are You Paying Attention challenge today. So fantastic sharing fan lineup is what Kane would probably say. And you see highlighted on the left here, we've got several sharing fans sharing today. But Kane's second favorite fantastic friend is who he would pass the ball to at this point. He would say, Logan, or you guys take it from here. Now, before you take it from here, I'm gonna also wrap up the show. At the very end, Kane also says, and don't forget, you can watch all previous shows on YouTube. And instead of Kane, we've got that coming from our good friend Purple Squirrel. Okay, on to you, Logan.
All right, good morning, everyone. The first thing we're gonna do is change our default. If you go to your chat and you change the default to all panelists and attendees, or all, or everyone, that allows you to interact, and that's what today's about, is sharing. If you don't change this default and you're only sending to us panelists, you just might not be so lucky today.
Yeah, and that's tied to the previous slide. So everyone, we really strongly encourage you, but let's give it a test. What do you think, Logan?
So here's what I want you to do. In order to test that you have been able to effectively change your chat to all panelists and attendees, or everyone, I want you to put in there how well you know report data sources. 0, not interested. What is RDS? 1, I let others write reports. 2, sometimes I need help with report data source. 3, I can easily find the right data source, and I might be able to teach a class on it.
All right, Kane. I mean, sorry, not Kane. Floyd from Tennessee. Try to calculate here if you'd like, but that question is there for you.
So just so you know, I'm glancing at the chat and I'm seeing some answers that are going to only panelists. This will not improve your luck today. Make sure you change it, all panelists and attendees. What's your involvement with Workday integrations? A, I don't touch them, I have no interest. B, I reach out for help with errors. C, I can sometimes fix integrations. D, I write integrations.
Okay, and Shannon from California, this is, if you could quickly watch the chat, give you an idea here for your virtual booth. Logan, how are we doing? Almost everyone sending to everyone?
Yeah, I think we're looking pretty good. Oh, okay, I just saw another panelist only.
Oh man, okay, well, we know who's not wearing green then. Okay, let's keep going.
Now we're gonna try again. We'll give you another shot. What's your interest in 2020 R1? E, not really interested. F, would appreciate some help. G, found some issues. H, found some great new features. I would like to discuss it with others.
And you know what, Logan, I think we should let people put in more than one letter. Like, for me, I would say G, hi. I found some issues. There's some great new features, and I want to discuss with others. Todd from New York, if you're watching, this gives you an idea for your virtual breakout Zoom room.
We're going to have a couple more questions. How many mergers and acquisitions related to Workday have you been involved with? And if it's 0, no interest in M&A. 1, I've been involved once. 2 to 3 or 11? How many times have you done this?
Now, Halan from Georgia, this will be for your breakout room Zoom. And I guess just take a look. And we're almost done here. Final question.
I've seen some with 6 and 10 in the chat, so you got some people in there.
Wow.
Interest in contingent workers. J, no contingent workers in Workday. K, some but few in Workday. L, all contingent workers are in Workday. M, like Mary, I would like to discuss it with others. N, like Nancy, I would really like help with some contingent workers. And again, you can put in more than one.
Yes, although it won't spell G high. But
Ooh, I just saw another one to only panelists. You better watch your luck, people.
Okay, now we have a special guest on the show, Dan Beck from Utmost. If you're paying attention here, this is what you'll get to see perhaps in your virtual Zoom room, like a virtual booth on the expo floor for you, Dan Beck from Utmost. Hi, Teresa.
Hello. Good morning and afternoon to everybody. So who do we have first on today's fantastic lineup of sharing fans?
It looks like we have David.
Hi, everyone. David, the sharing guy. If you've paid attention of any of the previous 44 episodes of the sharing show, I always have the same disclaimer. The basics is that I used to work for Workday. I don't anymore. My views do not necessarily represent the same as Workday, but same for everyone here. Everyone's representing themselves or they're representing the group, and they're not representing any official Workday view. And this is not training. This is customer grassroots, customers helping other customers. I am personally on a mission to help as many Workday customers as possible. So I highly recommend the customer sharing movement, and just recently created an ecosystem sharing and networking. Like, these are both LinkedIn groups. Customer sharing movement only for customers, but the ecosystem sharing and networking, that's an important one because of 9.9, which some people are probably hearing about for the first time, but you're going to hear a little bit more about 9.9. If you're getting David the Sharing Guy emails, you would have seen in an email earlier this morning, all of the themes, including the fact that we now have an expo floor. And that's where I'm highlighting both Shannon and Dan for that. So what's the plan for 9.9? You would see it in the email, but essentially, if you're not getting the emails, I'll just tell you now. Well, first, check your spam, please, and click the button that says, this is not spam. I want to hear from David the Sharing Guy every week. And then what you really need to know about 9.9, it's all here in the ecosystem sharing and networking LinkedIn group, but also go to the customer sharing movement. I'm doing a quick time check. We've got 1 hour total. We're trying to get to the expo floor sooner than later, and this is why I'm highlighting in particular Shannon and Dan, but we're going to have 5 different breakouts. Let's see how quickly we could get there. First, I need to share that I was in the Workday customer networking on the first Thursday, so it was March the 4th, and somebody named Anonymous joined a little bit late, and I want to tell her story here in a second, but I do want to point out that I did announce 9.9 there, and in the bottom right, I also announced ShareTunes. We announced that on 3.3, and the ShareTunes started on 2.2. I know I'm going pretty fast, but I want to get us to the expo floor sooner than later. So here's the background from Anonymous. Anne said that she came from a different room. It was an integration room, but wanted to know about Calc fields. And the question was, how is she able to do, blah, blah, blah with Calc fields, this or that? And because the subfilter wasn't working, it's like, wait a minute, let's fix the subfilter. Don't write a bunch of Calc fields. Is this your problem? That subfilter isn't working means you're not seeing fewer rows. You're just seeing a bunch of blank columns. So if that's the case, try this, is not empty. Put that on the business object that's on the subfilter. 5 minutes later, wow, that was it. So Anonymous, sorry you weren't able to join and share this story yourself, but happy that we saved you many hours. Now here's the important part. The challenge that I posed to Anne after saving Anne hours and hours in just 5 minutes is, now you have to tell 2 friends, or what happens right now at this exact same time? Some other Workday customer is struggling with this exact issue. Welcome to my world. How are we going to help everybody in this situation? Well, that's what 9.9 and the sharing movement is about. If you're on the LinkedIn groups, you've seen these challenges. This was just posted yesterday. How can you write a calc field to determine if the next Friday is Friday the 13th? Because a year ago on Friday the 13th is when we all had our lives change, probably pretty significantly. All right, that was on LinkedIn. So we're back to what would Kane do? Kane would be focusing right now on what you need to know in order to, I don't know how else to say it, but try your luck in the chat. As David, the sharing guy, I'm going to say that I personally am giving away an Apple Watch to the first person who figures this out. So here comes the challenge. I was on LinkedIn yesterday. I'm not kidding. Purple squirrel showed up in the upper right. David, would you like to apply for a job? And purple squirrel showed up. First, the question, what is the name of my potential friend of purple squirrel? Here are the rules. You get one guess in the chat, only one guess. And the first person to guess the correct answer wins a Apple Watch, whether or not it has a green band on it. Okay, here comes the hint. It's my four-legged friend. Here's a backup plan in case nobody gets that right in the chat today during the show. Plan B, who is this fantastic sharing fan who posted this picture on LinkedIn 6 months ago? And not only who is that, but what part of the customer sharing movement did he invent? So this is the rule for after the sharing show. If nobody gets the purple squirrel challenge, whoever sends me a LinkedIn message first, one guess allowed, correct spelling is required, not for the name, but for the part of the customer sharing movement in which this person invented. On we go.
Thanks, David. Who's next on today's fantastic lineup of sharing fans?
Next, we have Floyd from Tennessee.
Hello. Thought we'd quickly run through a couple of things today. In a lot of discussions at past risings and also in some of the networking things that Dawn has had lately for Workday, in some of the groups about reporting, I hear a lot of challenges about people finding the right data source. So they're not quite sure. Once they find the right data source, they can kind of get their way, but they have a little struggle getting there. So does this sound familiar to you? You need to create a custom report. You see almost a couple thousand data sources and your tenant for about over 1,200 business objects. So how do you get started? You can't simply go in and scan each one by one. So I was going to just quickly demo a couple of example research reports that I put together, and we refine those over time as more data becomes available. Both of those are in the solution catalog if somebody wanted to import them in your sandbox and take a look at them, refine them, and move them to production if you decide. So this first one is a overview, data source overview by business object, and it uses the data source, all data sources. So I'm not going into the construction of the report, just kind of the way that it works. So we have a lot of different flexible prompts about how you can select the ones you want to look at. And here's one example to look at. We're looking for data sources that fit into the Workday solution area of payroll, the flavors of payroll that employee self can access, either the data source or the data source filter. And then we would click OK. In this case, we get a chart at the top that if you had indexed in standard data sources would have more than one segment. But that rolled up number also gives you the ability to quickly drill down off the totals if you want. And then at the bottom of that, there you go. There's a table that shows the breakdown by business object and then standard or index data sources. And for each data source, it shows the how many data sources and how many custom and standard reports use that data source. And then if you drill down to the details on one, it gives more information about each of the data sources with the data source filters available, what security domains control that, and built-in prompts, etc. From there, you can control click on any data source that you find to open up the Workday view page for that data source in another tab to look at it in more detail. We have some overview of that. And on the reports tab, you can see any standard or custom reports that exist for that data source. In addition, we use a called Maintain Custom Reports on menus and hook that into the related action of the data source. So you can run this one that looks at the data source filter details. So basically you go data source, reports, click on the report. That feeds the data source that you were looking at into the prompts of this report. Then when you drill down and run the report, you see a lot more information about the data source, including what security controls it, for the data source and the filters, and what security controls it, what built-in prompts are on there. And that helps you decide the appropriate one that you might want to use for your use case to start your report. And I believe that's all I have on that.
All right, Floyd, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Floyd. It's always great to have you. Who is next on today's fantastic lineup?
Next, we have Shannon from California.
All right,
hello, friends. Quick introduction. I've been doing Workday for 9 years. And had worked prior to that with PeopleSoft. Been working as both in the technical world and functional area, and really was pleased to see a lot of people who are interested in integrations in the chat today. And if you are not someone who writes integrations yourself, please feel free to take back some of the information back to the folks that you work with in your integration space. So I'm going to talk about a little tool that I have developed. It is a free XSLT testing tool. That's the headline: free and XSLT testing. So if you're going to take that back, please. That's sort of the main thrust here. The quickest way to get to it is on github.com, and you can do a search for ERP helper. ERP helper, one word, will get you there a lot quicker. But this is a tool that I developed for Notepad++. It's a plugin. I apologize to my Mac friends, but it's Windows only. It has a few features that I use myself. It really came about because as a manager in HR technology and as a developer, I got tired of asking or trying to explain about these tools that I and my developers needed to do our jobs. We'd make the request to IT and purchasing, and they didn't quite understand what we were asking for and all these tools that we had to purchase. So I decided, hey, I'm working in Notepad++. Let me write this plugin so that I can have this free tool that I can share with everyone. So the plugin allows you to easily work within Notepad++. It works with your Workday integrations, keeps it simple, really easy and quick to use. And basically, I have a number of different features and functions in it. As you can see, one of them allows you to interact with Workday directly. You can do an inbound or outbound call to the API, and the response will come back in a document within Notepad++.
And
so,
Shannon,
yes.
I was gonna jump in here and just make sure people don't all of a sudden like blur their eyes because they see a bunch of XML. But I just want to make sure people know. And sorry for stealing your thunder if you're about to say it, but this is the same as an inbound EIB. It's just this is what the techies see if you're writing code for it. Is that accurate?
Exactly right. And if you're sort of a medium techie and writing EIBs yourself, this is a great tool that can help with that XSLT file.
Right. Or I've actually heard some people say that for inbound EIB, sometimes it helps them to look at this what would the input be if they were a techie as compared to only using the Excel?
That's the tool has a lot of features. I'm looking for feedback for additional features that would be useful. You can see I've got some other ideas about source code management and automated file loads. So yeah, it's a tool out there that happy to share with others and happy to get feedback. You can also contribute through GitHub as well.
Okay, now we have an option right here to have people jump to your expo booth, but let's just take a look at the agenda.
Teresa, who do we have next?
Next, we have Halan from Georgia. Welcome, Halan.
Wait, hold on. Before Halan, we've got Todd.
Oh, I am so sorry. I'm jumping the gun. First, we have Todd from New York. Welcome, Todd.
Okay, Todd, no rush for you, but we've already moved on. Right. Here you are, Todd.
Hi, I'm Todd from New York, and I'm a technical functional guy too. So Shannon, that project you worked on, I can't wait to use it. We've been focusing on Workday 2021 R1 over the last 6 weeks. We did a great show on it last month on the Sharing Show. You can find that out on YouTube if you search for the Sharing Show. And today, I just wanted to quickly highlight my favorite new feature of 2021 R1. The feature is called End Ongoing Payroll Inputs for Terminated Workers. It's a little bit wordy of a title, but essentially what it allows you to do is through the course of terminating an employee, if they have any open and ongoing pay inputs that do not have an end date, you can create a task to end those within the termination BP. So it consists of first, a new business process called End Payroll Input. Once you activate that, you set up your business process security policy for workers who can initiate that. Then you would update your termination BP to add the End Payroll Input step as an action and assign it to the initiator group. What this does ultimately, technology doesn't have to be flashy, and this isn't, but it's really, really functional. But what it allows your company to do is eliminate audits to look for terminated employees that have open input, and of course the manual work that goes along with it. So here's our new business process and payroll inputs. It's very simple. It just has an initiation step, business process security policy. You set it up for those that can do the task. I set this up immediately on Monday morning, by the way, and I assigned our payroll admin, payroll partner. What's really cool about this is you can extend this kind of light payroll pay input, administration to groups who are not payroll administrators. So you see that next section below, security group types allowed for processing actions, and allows a variety of other type of roles or security assignments to do. So if you wanted your HR partner, for example, to be able to submit this, you could do that as well. Once you set up the new End Pay Input business process and security, you go into your termination BP, you plug it in as an action step for those that can initiate. This is just an example of when you submit one, and it's also an example of the new mini conclusions. And then lastly, when you run it and it launches, it will automatically populate the proposed end date with the termination date from the BP. This is great. Our payroll people loved this. Again, they were running audits every single day, or not every single pay cycle to look for things like this. So now that we have it integrated into the term BP, it's going to eliminate that audit and the manual work that goes around it.
Awesome, Todd. Thank you. That's a little bit of a time warp. And Teresa, I believe you've already introduced, but you could say one more time.
Great. Next, we have Halan from Georgia. Thanks so much.
Hey guys, this is Halan from Georgia. Good morning, good afternoon. I was on the last Sharon show as well, covering gender pronouns. If you get an opportunity, be sure to go check it out. Today I'm covering high level, what are the phases of an M&A as it pertains to Workday clients. And do note, this is my simplified definition. Yours might differ depending on contractual agreement, size of your team, dollars your organization have or is willing to spend. I've been a part of 9 M&A Workday projects, so Workday to Workday, other legacy systems to Workday, mergers and acquisitions as large as 12,000, as small as 39 employees. You guys be sure to join the breakout session as I'll dig into this a little bit deeper. The first thing I have here is engagement. So engagement might be happening before you even know of it, but as soon as you're aware, right, understanding what's the deals in place. So, engaging with your legal team to understand when you can reach out, when you can, start exchanging, data and sensitive information. Some things in the contract might be in place where it could void a portion of the deal or what have you. So you want to make sure you're engaging with legal, finance and payroll, because a lot of that will go into some of the orgs that you'll have to set up. Any custom orgs and things of that sort helps to kind of define the direction the M&A project will be going in. And sometimes finance or payroll don't even know the impacts it will have on Workday. And so getting them to think about that earlier on definitely helps. So I would say communicate is the biggest thing. Design is the next step that I have. So it's just you thinking about how are you going about this, right? What new orgs, what new or edited business processes you might need to change, what additional logic you might need to include or exclude the acquiring organization, or do you need any integrations that you don't have already? Do you need to feed data back to the organization, the entity being acquired? So just a number of different things to think through from a design standpoint. And then, make sure you're checking in with all of your other functional areas to understand the impacts, right, to benefits, to payroll, to any other functional areas, understand what was agreed in the engagement as a part of the deal. Testing is always super important, but oftentimes this is where people look to cut time. Just from a planning perspective, we don't dedicate enough time to testing. So testing is super important. So if and where you can, avoid all the shortcuts, because testing is where you find the issues within the data. So this can start during the design phase as well, right? And trying to get that initial file to start taking a look through the data to help kind of drive the design as well. So make sure you're not cutting corners here. I'll dig into it a little bit more on the breakout session. Cutover and stabilize, right? What does success look like for you? You want to make sure you're communicating this from the acquirer and the acquiree, is that we're communicating consistently, right? So that we know what success looks like in the end. What does the cutover process look like, right? Do we need, documentation and training as a part of the UAT, so that the acquiring folks, they don't feel left out and that they don't have any input into driving the decision. So as a part of the testing and everything, right, what does success look like? And then always have a backout plan. If this doesn't go according to plan, what do we look like? How do we route back to our existing systems, or what is our plan B, plan C that we define? So always ensure that's kind of defined and it's communicated high level. So hopefully I see a few of you guys, especially whomever has done 10 that tops me, joining in the breakout session. I'd love to hear you guys' perspective and network with a few of you.
I do wonder, 10, I was amazed, Halan, that you've done 9. 10 is huge.
Agreed.
Okay, so here's where you get to wrap up.
On this last slide is just a community link. There's a mergers and acquisition special interest group. They have a number of cool videos. They're working on putting together a playbook out there that can be shared amongst everyone. And so always remember that, your M&A activity might always differ, just because the deal that's agreed upon will often differ from merger to merger, acquisition to acquisition. So go out and please join that group if you've had an M&A activity in the past, if you have something coming up in the near future, right? Just where we are with COVID-19, businesses are looking to kind of gain leverage just from M&A deals. And so a lot of questions are being asked out there. So go and check it out if you guys get a chance.
Awesome. Thank you, Halan. Dawn, I'm going to come back to you. Dan, I'm going to have you go next, and then we'll come back to Dawn. So Dan, test your audio.
Yep, I'm here now. Can you hear me?
Yes, and welcome Dan from California.
Thank you. Good to be here. Thanks for hosting and putting on a great show, David and team. Great to hear Logan's voice live. I've been near the Logan cutout images, but never heard your voice, Logan. So that's a real pleasure. That's me in the top left. By way of credentializing, I also, like David and some of you on the call, former Workday employee. I was Workday number 5 was the first product release I worked on. I led the technology products group at Workday, and about 3 years ago left Workday and started a new business called Utmost. And our focus is on all those non-employees, the contingent workers, the contractors, the consultants, lots of different relationships that do work for your businesses and logically could make sense making their way into Workday, but also that have a whole life cycle of needs that generally get fulfilled by products like SAP Fieldglass or Beeline or homegrown solutions. We are a new startup. We're backed by Greylock Partners and Workday Ventures. Would love to tell you more about it. I would never want to put myself up against Floyd Walterhouse, the living legend. So if in the odd chance you want to go to his breakout versus our breakout, no problem. Please just email me at dan@utmost.co. We are a startup, like I said, so we're too cheap to have a .com, so it's .co, dan@utmost.co. I have the dubious distinction of being a former Workday's soccer teammate of David's. So you would put me in the category of the low skill, high hustle player. So always a use for that kind of player. But just to break it down, we are the Workday friendly, the Workday only option. We only focus on Workday customers. The image you see in the bottom right is a picture of our product. So the look and feel is consciously like Workday. And we bring all those non-employees together with the employee population in Workday in a unique way. Love to see you in the breakout. We're serving only Workday customers with non-employee populations ranging from 500 to 25,000. So we can probably help you. Thanks, David.
All right, Dan, a few things. Okay, for sure, the hustle out there on the soccer field. So it's just great to hear your voice, Dan. Welcoming you to the show. There's over 100 people on the show listening to you, if you didn't realize. This bottom right corner, I know you sent me this fantastic animated GIF that shows how you're not just looking at Workday employees in your system, you've combined the Workday employees with the contingent workers, and you're doing it all in one spot. Just because you work directly with Workday, and you're the only one who's doing this only for Workday customers. So I believe you'll get several people coming to your Zoom room virtual booth, Dan. So I would say, as I work on getting Dawn's audio on, I would say go ahead and jump over to it. Let me just make sure I'm clear here where we are. So right now, there's maybe a dozen people in Floyd's room. We've got Shannon has separate room. Halan, I don't know if that room has started, but the idea is we're about to break into separate rooms. I'm going to get Dawn on audio here in a second. Most people probably know these rules, but everybody gets to talk. Nobody talks too much. And then you could put into the chat, since it's networking, first name, location, email, number of years of Workday, anything you want to share, anything you want to ask. I'm coming back to Dawn here in a second. 2021 R1 stays here. Reporting has already started. Mergers and acquisition has started. Shannon's got one going. And Dan, thank you again. Your virtual booth has started. And Dawn, I'm going to call you on a cell phone call. So Dawn, I'm hoping you can hear me. Call Dawn.
Just to confirm, You'd like to call Dawn. Hi, everybody. This is Dawn from Atlanta. Won't keep you too long, so I know we want to get to those other rooms to talk and share. Just want to give a shout out for the customer networking. We do this monthly, the first Thursdays from 3 p.m. Eastern till 4 or 4:30 if you want to stay late. We have over 37 topics that we typically can let you choose from, always looking to add more. We leverage Zoom technology. So you do want to have Zoom, the desktop version 5.3. All the information is in community for you to be able to see what you need and to download and update. And what's real exciting is we have volunteers who are Kickstarters. David is one of those. Floyd is one of those who take a topic and really just help lead the conversation. So you don't have to be a subject matter expert to Kickstart. You just want to come with a sharing heart to listen and ask and give your thoughts. So just a quick flash. This is an example of some of the topics that we've had in the past. So if something jumps out, share with a colleague that might be focused on a different area of Workday. We really try to give something for everybody to be able to come and share and network on your Workday journey. And these are just a few of the quotes that we've gotten from some of the feedback. So a lot of folks finding value to connect with others. David coined the phrase to share it forward, which I really like. So no matter where you are in your Workday journey, there's something that you can offer to help each other out. That's it for me, David. Really appreciate the time.
All right, thank you, Don. I'm going to leave this slide up so people can see the fantastic quotes. I have a feeling that you have actually not dozens but hundreds of fantastic quotes. I think I've been on 5 in a row, and it's grown from 200 to 300 to close to 400. So looking forward to it next month as well, Don. And thank you again. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to switch over into another room.